Welcome to the Grizzled Warmaster. My name is Doug, and today we're going to take a look at the FAQ for the Ossiarch Bonereapers. And here's this came out with the big drop that came for everybody with the 3.0 rules coming out with the Dominion box set. Everybody got some updates that just kind of brought them in line with the changes in the rules. So a lot of things that were rerolls got changed to something different, and just got some updates that kind of brought things in line. Bonereapers needed a lot because they are very different. I saw Mini Wargaming just had a battle report with the Bonereapers against, I don't even remember what the army they were. Not ogres. It doesn't matter. It was funny because the Matt made the comment that it feels like the Bonereapers are playing a different game, and that is very true. They play so much differently than the rest of the 3.0 rules. They needed some addressing, and this FAQ didn't do it, in my opinion. But so let's go ahead and go look through the changes that were made. I'm going to ignore the errata questions or the designer commentary questions because they largely were already answered. I think they just picked the ones that seemed to matter in this edition. This little endless spell things is, endless spells are unique endless spells that can be summoned by Ossiarch Bonereapers. We still have the their specific kind of bound endless spells, which is interesting. Because as far as this is concerned, they did not address, they still get the -1 to cast if they have a soulbound endless spell out there. But like anybody else, they can control, anybody can control their own endless spells now. I think unless it goes out past 30 inches, which, all right, these guys don't suffer that negative. They go away if the person is killed, just like, I guess if the person is killed in, otherwise it becomes wild instead of just being unbound. So, I mean, I'm finding it hard to understand why you would want to take a -1 to have a bound endless spell at this point. So, or soulbound endless spell. Anyways, we will see. That's not addressed now, so if you want those soulbound endless spells, you're going to have to take that -1. I'm really hoping we're getting a new Bonereapers battle tome soon, within the next 6 months or so, because they, I think, are one of the ones that need it the most. I would have said somebody like Maggotkin and Nurgle, or Legions of Nagash, but it looks like Legions of Nagash are getting split up, so they probably don't need that. The Idneth maybe. So there are some old battle tomes out there, but right now this one, which is one of the newest, really needs some work. But they addressed generating relentless discipline points. That was the big thing here, is how we generate discipline points. First part is as it was. You get 1 discipline point for each hero, 1 for each liege, and then if Catacross is your general and on the battlefield, 3 relentless discipline points. So if you have Catacross, you usually have a lot, because he himself generates 5. 3 for his special rule here, 1 because he's a hero, and 1 because he's a liege. So you usually have plenty when he's on the field. But now, if you take the first turn, you get another relentless discipline point. But if you take the second turn, you get another 2 relentless discipline points. So that even bumps it up a little more. And now the rolling for each unit and getting an extra relentless discipline on a 6 happens in each hero phase. So man, you've got, I mean, let's just say you have 6 units, because everything is more expensive. So you're likely going to be around that 6 unit threshold. So it's probably 1 extra relentless discipline point per hero phase. So you're probably going to have plenty of discipline points. You're going to have to struggle to spend them all, which I guess is cool, but it doesn't really address the fundamental problem of the war scrolls in the Bonereaper army were were built in such a way as the special abilities anybody else would get, they had to use Relentless Discipline points to activate. And that would have been a justification for them being slightly cheaper or slightly better in other ways. So people like to complain about the Mortek Guard as, ridiculously powerful battle line. But one of their most powerful abilities, the ability to re-roll their saves, was something they had to spend discipline points on, which was a limited resource, so they may or may not have it when the time comes. Now, only one Mortek Guard unit could even use that anyways, and they can't combine it with their other, sub-faction specific ability. So if you have, for example, you've got Petrifex Elite, you can't give them both reroll saves and +1 rend. You can't double up things. So it fundamentally changes how they're going to play. Like everybody else, they can't take War Scroll battalions in match play games, but they can take the core battalions. They just can't use the abilities that a lot of them get that were basically benefiting from a command point. So they can't take Experts, Slayers, Strategists, or Swift Battalion, which were the ones that I think let them get all-out attack, all-out defense, at the double, or any of those things. Or Strategist, I think, was the one that you got a free command point on some round. They can't get any of those. Instead, if they take one of those, they receive a Relentless Discipline point once per battle. So it's like taking, I think that's the Strategist one. So that's cool. They still have Unstoppable Advance. Good. A lot of these were just clarifying the spell lores and who could take them. Petrifex Elite got a little bump. They may now be back in the driver's seat of the best faction. They changed their rule from reroll ones against melee attacks to worsen the rend characteristics of weapons that target Petrifex Elite by 1 to a minimum of nothing. And that's just weapons. So missile weapons, melee weapons, doesn't matter. Worsen the rend by 1. So that is cool. Not quite as good as getting all-out defense, but hey, it helps. And when you combine them with their ability to get extra rend, they're back in contention for being one of the best factions. If you've got Catacross in your army, they're getting the +1 to hit as if they had all-out attack. If you get only one of your Mortek Guard units in combat at a time, you can always have re-rolling saves when you needed it, the shield wall when you needed it, and then switch up to the extra rend when you needed it. So Bone Tithe Nexus, it's changed a little. It's got a new War Scroll down below. Mainly it's about how you place it. Interestingly, because a lot of other armies didn't get this, Catacross, Archon, and Nagash all got Warmaster, which means they act as a general even if they're not the model picked to be the general. Although if you've got Catacross in your army and you don't pick him to be your general, I don't know what you're doing. His 3 extra Relentless Discipline points are way better than any of the command traits. So let's see. It looks like everybody, Nagash, Archon, all of them lost their ability to cast Mystic Shield more than once. So he can still cast Arcane Bolt more than once, but not Mystic Shield more than once. And then we just clarified a couple. I don't know why they put the Death Rider Wedge can only be, same unit can't benefit from it more than once per turn. They can't in the core rules, so I'm not sure why they felt the need to specify that. They updated I'm not going to go through a lot of these, but they updated the endless spells to reflect the changes to the fact that they can move in both hero phases, so they're a little less. I actually think Soul Thief basically stayed the same. They may have changed the fly, how far he flies, but I'm not sure. He's definitely, you can cast him anywhere on the table is cool. He's still got he grants the wizard who cast invisibility from him, and it's still got if things die within 6 inches. So it looks the same. Problem is that it went up to, I believe, 85 points. Let me look here real quick. Oh, let's jump over to yep, 85 points for the Soul Stealer Carrion. I mean, it is an amazing thing, but it was kind of like a stealth under the radar. It was cheap. It was 20 or 30 points when it first came out. It was super good. I don't think I would take either of these two anymore, not at their point values. If you don't have Catacross, the Bone Tithe Shrieker is a pretty good take, I think. I think it's 65 now, and just the fact that you add one to hit rolls, and you cannot use Inspiring Presence or Rally if you're within 12 inches of this spell. That is super powerful. So I could see taking this now. It'd be pretty awesome. But there you go, guys. That is the FAQ for the Ossiarch Bonereapers. I was going to go through the point values, and we can jump over there real quick. The only thing really, like most everything else, the Crawler went up 15 points. Death Riders went up 10. Mortec Guard went up 10. The Harvester, I think, went up 15. I think Catacross maybe went up 20. Pretty much they went up in line with everybody else, except Archon is still a steal at 360 points. He is super good. I would take him over Nagash any day. He is a mini Nagash who still allows you to play with, more than, half your force being the rest of your army. So I like that. But yeah. So there you go, guys. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the FAQ for the Bonereapers? Do you agree with me that they just absolutely need a new battle tome? Have you played any games with them? I'm curious there. I've seen a couple played. They do not seem to perform as well as they used to. But all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would, please share with a friend. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.